Okay, so to continue, this article that I have found is nightmares and bad dreams in patients with borderline personality disorder, fantasy, and coping as a coping skill. Um, Peter Seymour and Implicit Laboratory Association. Like I said, I will put links to information for you. But I'm just gonna kind of read some highlighted parts. And also, if you have any experiences with these, please talk about it. I definitely want to compare stories, and you know, I can only learn so much about my BPD by myself, through myself. So I definitely want to learn about other people as well. So, all right. This just is a little bit of background. Previous studies reported a high prevalence of nightmares and dream anxiety in borderline personality disorder. Severity of dream disturbances correlated with daytime symptoms of psychopathology. The majority of these results based on retrospective questionnaire. Therefore, the aim was to replicate findings using dream logs. The method, 23 subjects diagnosed with BPD and 23 gender-matched healthy controls were assessed using the Dream Quality Questionnaire. Subjects were asked to collect 5 dreams in 3-week study period to rate the emotional and phenomenal qualities of the reported dream. The results: dream disturbances, nightmares, mad dreams, night terror-like symptoms, and dream anxiety were more frequent with people with patients, BPD patients in that control. Dream disturbances correlated positively with neuroticism. Dream disturbances correlated positively. Fantasy proved to be negative. Fantasy proved to be a negative correlate of dream disturbances. So, conclusion: our study provides further support for the association between dream disturbances and BPD. Links the presence and dream disturbances to the level of emotional instability, and suggests that fantasy is a potential protective factor against dysfunctional dreaming. And it goes on to tell you there was 19 female, 4 male, how the procedure is done, instruments that were used, and break it down in more detail and the results more. That was just kind of like a short summary. And that is just one article of scientific facts. I want to throw that out there too. Let's see. I've got so many things saved for this event here, and I have to go through it. Found it. Okay. The analysis of this paper, or the analysis of dream reality confusion in relation to the characteristics of borderline personality, based on research findings, hypothesized that people with BPD are more likely to experience DRC compared to people, which is dream reality confusion, people in non-clinical population. Okay, so here's numbers. Some people are numbers people. So, numbers. Okay, so here we go. Unstable sleep, wake cycles. Okay, 15 to 95.5% of people with BPD and unstable sleep and wake cycles, which occur in BPD, are linked to dream reality confusion. Dissociation, nearly 2/3 of the people with BPD experience dissociative symptoms. Dissociative symptoms are correlated with a fantasy proneness. Dissociative symptoms and fantasy proneness are related to DRC. Negative dream content. People with BPD have nightmares more often than other people. Dreams that are more likely to be confused with reality tend to be more realistic and unpleasant, and are reflected in waking behavior. Sorry. Many BPD patients experience various cognitive disturbances, including problems with reality testing, which can foster DRC. Thin boundaries. People with thin boundaries are more prone to DRC than people with thick boundaries, and people with BPD tend to have thin boundaries. Theoretical analysis on the basis of these findings suggests that people who suffer from BPD may be more susceptible to confusing dream content with actual waking events. So, that's like scientific-y stuff, and let me tell you where I found that. This is from ResearchGate, Dream Reality Confusion and Borderline Personality Disorder, theoretical analysis. So that's some professional scientific data, okay? So that's where this came from. Was I was literally just wondering, why do I have these dreams? Why do I do this? I had one the other day, and I hate it. I also have reoccurring dreams. Not a lot of people do, and at least there's something usually different. I've had the same dream since I was a little girl about a house I lived in. The greenhouse is what it's called, and I'm not. I don't want to talk a lot about that particular one because of. You'll hear about it eventually. Let me just say that. But I also had another one about being stuck in a dunk tank, and somebody enclosing it so I drowned. And it's the same person, it's the same theme, it's the same everything. The sky's the same, everything is the same. And I've had that one since I was a little kid too. It's just, I don't know, I hate it. It's just as scary now as it was the first time. I don't have them as often now. Like, I did have them every night for a long time. And now, maybe once a month. So, I'm thankful for that. A lot of times I wake up screaming or talking or crying. I wake up crying a lot. A lot. So if you have a similar story or an embarrassing dream experience, and you know, thought your employee was sleeping with your other employee's boyfriend, and you had to have a meeting with them so there wasn't any drama or conflict at their job, and it wasn't even real. You can go to my YouTube channel and get a hold of me there. You can message me on my podcast. You can go to my blog, beyondtheborderline.net. You can reach me there. You can email me. I would love to hear more stories about the things that people don't talk about. And I would love to get more light and more awareness out about the borderline and dreaming. I want to push our providers, our healthcare providers, our professionals to do more about this, about borderline personality disorder. I mean, let's keep digging. You can use my brain. I don't mind at all. Okay, so anyway, Savannah, a created borderline story. You can reach me there on my YouTube channel, Borderline Personality, Let's Talk About It podcast, and then, of course, my blog. Hi, Daisy. BeyondTheBorderline.net. Go on. It's okay. So you can reach me at any of those places, and you can also email me, as I said. So tomorrow, I'm gonna go over into some random things today. For the end of today. But tomorrow is going to be borderline personality disorder, lies and deception. If the few articles that just pop up basically stigmatize us and say we're just horrible people, blah, blah, blah. You know, the usual. But if you actually look at intelligent articles, you will find some great information, and it explains so much. It literally is like, you read it, and there's a lot of that I'm going to read word for word, because when you read it, when you hear it, it is like, that is exactly what happened. That it was exactly me. And it changed me. it changed me because I realized my behavior. For the first time ever, I realized my behavior. And, well, that's not who I ever wanted to be. I always say in my rational mind, it's never who I wanted to be. Ever. So, okay. Just some things that you may or may not know. People with BPD are at an elevated risk of self-harm and suicide due to the mix of intense emotions and impulsivity. If you are a loved one, watching or listening to this, I want you to understand that even if your BPD friend or loved one has cried wolf 1,000 times, do not ever brush aside the 1,001, because that could be the one. Sometimes, in my experience, we can when we do say we're going to harm ourselves or kill ourselves, usually it's because it just comes out, because that's what we're feeling so much all at once, and we're really mad at the person that's hurting us, and we can't take the pain, and it's just we're suffering. We really might not, we know we're going to calm down eventually, or we really might not want to do it, or we might storm off, and that's our intention, to go do something like that. But then we have this, well, like, what if? Is that, for an example, if you're in a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend, and, you know, it's big, it's bad, it's intense, and you just can't deal with it anymore, and you know that the majority of what's talking and what's happening right now is your BPD, but you walk away from the situation, and if that's your intentions is, I'm going to go kill myself, and you get away long enough for it to get quiet in your brain, and you're like, oh, well, what if he really does, or she really does love me, or what if that's not me leaving or being gone or absent, or, what if tomorrow is a better day? And those what ifs, those little what ifs is what saves the 90% of the other the 10% that dies, the 90 is saved by what ifs. And after everything that I've studied and I've read, there's no, and what I've been through and what I feel myself, there's no possible way that any person anywhere in the entire world can look me in the eye and tell me that that is not what it is, because I know how intensely I feel and how badly it hurts. I've literally prayed, I've literally wanted to cut my own heart out and just throw it on the floor. That pain, BPD, that emotional pain is I would rather have broken bones. That's why I have literally hurt, one of the reasons why I've literally harmed myself, which I have not talked a lot about, but it is so intense. It is intense. When professionals and doctors are comparing it to third-degree burn victims with burns all over their bodies, yeah, eventually it calms down and it goes away, but it comes back, and it comes back. And I would almost rather just be burnt one time my skin. I don't care if my skin looks like shit for the rest of its life, but it's going to heal, and it's not going to hurt like that anymore. I'm sure that I'm not a burn victim, but I am sure that they have some constant pain throughout their life. But it's torture. Yes, I also understand that the scars left on a burn victim is probably torture for them. I'm not undercutting anybody's pain or emotions in any way. But for me, like I said, I'd rather have my arm broken. I'd rather have a physical pain than the emotional pain that I feel inside. So, especially, I mean, I'm 32. I've been dealing with this for so many years. And as my brain and things have changed, my way of thinking has changed, like I have some positive, great things that have happened since my diagnosis. But one thing that has gotten worse is that emotional pain. I have great days, don't get me wrong. But when I have bad days, they are bad. There's no single cause of BPD. I don't know if you know that. There's several key risk factors involved. Some experts advocate for diagnosing BPD in adolescence, while others prefer to wait until adulthood. I believe if this is something that should be studied more in at least teen years, like 12, 13, because waiting until adulthood is, excuse my language, it's stupid. It is stupid. You're an adult. You're literally, and I will try to find this article, but it was literally explained in an article as you are literally being born. So in September, I was born for the first time. I was getting a life for the first time. I'm having to relearn everything over because I never, it wasn't taught to me in a way that I could learn it, like learn life. Like everything was not right. I don't know the words I'm trying to use. The main point I'm trying to make right this moment is I was born in September of 2019. Yes, I'm a grown adult, but I didn't live like an adult. I was making childish mistakes. I was not mature and grown in my actions. And that's not fair to the next person, It needs to be discussed. We need to be pushing for awareness. We need to be, getting it out there and saying, hey, look at the, there's all kinds of articles about how BPD and going to jail, BPD and this, all this negative things that people with BPD do. Well, if we're not stopping it before we become adults, then what are you doing for that person? What are you doing for the borderline people? Nothing. You're not doing anything. You're not doing any favors. And then that brings me to a whole nother issue with our child services. They were at our house all the time when I was a kid. And they could have changed, changed my life, and this is me blaming, and I know I'm not supposed to be doing this, and I need to be forgiving, and I need to do this and this and this and this. But there's certain things that I'm not ready to do yet, and that is one of them. I've literally have hospital papers stating that my own mother was unfit to take care of me, and they still let me go home with her. It boggles my mind how any of the things transpired throughout life. But I have to accept it, and accepting it is the first part. And I'm there. I'm accepting it. I'm just angry. I am angry, and when I get past my anger, then I will start forgiving. But I'm still angry, so, and maybe it's going to take a little bit of anger in all of us too, or some of us. And I don't mean BPD rage, everybody. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean just that little bit of, wait a minute. Something should have been done. Not complete blowout rage. So I should probably throw that out there. But maybe if we are a little angry and a little pushy and a little testy, we'll get some more awareness out there. We'll get some more help. The first line of treatment for BPD is therapy. There's no magic pill for us. I said that earlier. Persons with BPD do not trust their therapist right away. It takes a long time to create a bond. And that's why foundational, and that's why it takes that's why recovery for borderlines take longer, or it's one of the reasons. And that bond is often foundational to recovery. BPD is stigmatized by even healthcare providers. Once again, we're needy. I might be, I don't know, I don't think so. I think I was needier before my diagnosis than I am now. People with BPD can be very empathetic. I cannot talk today. Empathic and loving individuals. With that being said, there is with empathy and how borderlines can read auras. This is another one that's on the list. Which that one's more well known, but there's so much more in-depth stuff that I have just fell in love with because it's so me, and it makes me feel a lot less alone. What, Daisy? What? You gonna go outside? Come on. Go on. It makes me feel a lot less alone. Like, I know I'm not alone, and that is Daisy. So I'm going to wrap this up for today. Don't forget to subscribe or send me a message. You can find me on Spotify, Google Podcast, and you can check out my blog. I'm getting ready to give it a facelift. Hey, stop it. Stop. And Daisy says hi. And we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your day.